Hey everyone. I decided I should take some time to maybe talk about a time period I wasn't alive in and talk about an era of movies that I don't remember seeing, but I do remember seeing on TV. I wasn't alive during the 80s, but my god, did they sound awesome. They sure did. There was lots of stuff. I know I can't say they were awesome in general because I haven't been alive in them, but movie wise, TV wise, game wise, wise for a lot of things, song wise, it was pretty great. So many great songs, and of course, so many great movies. I wanted to do a list of my favorite movies of the whole decade, but honestly, that just pretty much be films that are my favorites of all time. So I kind of don't want to drag it on with films I've already talked about millions of times before. So instead, I decided to narrow it down to movies of one particular year in the 80s. That would be the year that is my personal favorite year of the 80s in terms of cinema. It was probably my favorite year of cinema in general. That would be the year 1989. That year, there were so many great movies I saw. And I've seen lots of great movies that were released in 89, and those were out of every film released in the 80s, 89 is probably my favorite film wise because there are just more amazing movies released that year, or at least just based off of films I've seen. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the 80s by doing a list of my favorite movies of the last year of the 80s. The year that, in my opinion, had so many great films. Not necessarily 80s defining films, not like films that define the 80s in terms of pretty much giving you that nostalgia, just films in general that are great. Films that are awesome in their own manner. It's not necessarily it gives you 80s vibes, more so it gives you vibes of how great the movie is and kind of reminds you that it came out during a pretty awesome decade. You know what I'm saying? And there are a couple movies on here I haven't talked about a lot, so that should be good. It's always good to find new movies to talk about that I've seen that I haven't got a chance to discuss yet. So let's go ahead and do this.
Disney's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. We all know Disney for their classic animated films, but of course there's also their classic live action comedies. And this one falls under the category of simple live action comedy with a pretty awesome premise, because that's what Disney's good at, or we're good at least. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is a simple family comedy, but its premise is pretty fun. It's a story about, a guy who created this machine that can shrink things. Kids find it, play with it, they shrink, stuck in their dad's backyard. They're so tiny, so God helps what they come up against. We see these tiny kids on this big, tiny adventure involving ants and other insects, grass, other obstacles. Again, it should be a simple family comedy, but this premise is pretty awesome. So seeing it kind of run in the movie, we kind of see them being all shrunk, and then there's the Rick Moranis dude who has to, just kind of find them in weird ways. It's all sorts of randomness. It kind of shifts from being a simple comedy to then going all out with its premise. So I like that. I like seeing this movie have such an awesome premise, even though it's just a simple comedy. It's pretty great. It's definitely a great film. It's not a little cheesy if you want to talk about its plot and how the visuals look compared to today, but not really much. I guess, especially compared to other Disney comedies, the effects still are pretty good. I mean, they definitely did a good job with the whole shrinking effects. I mean, those kids, it's pretty practical how the kids actually shrunk for the role. No, but seriously, this movie still does look pretty good. All right, now let's talk about a fun Christmas comedy. Christmas Vacation is definitely the best of all the National Lampoon movies. There's a series of vacation movies that all have their own fair share of fun. There's the original Vacation film, which was pretty fun for the most part. A fun, sort of mean spirited, dark adventure. And then there was European Vacation, which did that as well, but in Europe. And now we have Christmas Vacation, where they don't even really go anywhere. It's the one stay at home Christmas they have. They try to make the best of it, but unfortunately, stringing lights on a house causes havoc. The family coming over are is not to his liking. Things just aren't to his liking. And that's kind of what the film is. It's one dad who wants things to be done his own way. And that's kind of just where the whole everyone needs to have enjoy themselves. So it can't just be you kind of thing. But it's one of those cases where you have to both understand, but also not root for the main character. That's kind of what Chevy Chase is good at in these movies. These films, you're supposed to know what he's doing. You're supposed to feel bad in a way, but you're also supposed to understand he's in the wrong in so many levels, and at some points is pretty dickish. He's kind of a dick in these movies, so yeah, you see it here. But it's funny. It's loads of comedy. There's lots of jokes. They're all pretty hilarious. It's still a fun movie to watch every Christmas. I mean, yeah, yeah, there's lots of fun to it. So, yeah, mean spirited, dark, in any watchful way, still is lots of fun to watch. And in some cases, that's all that matters. All right, now here we have good old James Cameron. Nowadays, all he's doing is making Avatar films. But we all gotta remember the amount of other great movies he's been doing throughout his life. Starting off with Piranha 2, which, yeah, doesn't seem like a good place to start. But then, of course, then came The Terminator, which really showed his awesomeness. Then came Aliens, and now The Abyss. The third, well, okay, fourth, but in terms of popularity, third film he directs that I feel like kind of falls under the lights. And I can see why. It's definitely not as exciting as Cameron's other films. Sorry about that. But it's still pretty good. It's a story about this submarine adventure where we find this weird mythical world underwater and essentially kind of see the vibrant areas and this bizarre creation that no one on Earth was aware of. It's a submarine exposition film. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool story. Again, it can be pretty forgettable compared to his other films, but this one still does a pretty great job of its premise. I mean, the effects are pretty awesome. That's what Cameron's good at. The idea of this underwater mythological world does have some nice wholesomeness to it. You feel like there'd be a lot more of a dark, mature manner, and there kind of is at times. But it still is pretty whimsical too, and that's a good thing in this case. So yeah, I probably do want to watch this movie again as soon as I can. But for now, for what I do remember, I say The Abyss is quite a crowd pleaser, even though it's not up there as one of his most popular films, and probably not one a lot of sci-fi enthusiasts would remember either. Now, of course, we all know Robin Williams and his upstakes in comedy. He has all sorts of fun. You could see him dress up like Mrs. Doubtfire, him come out of the closet in the birdcage, him being Peter Pan even. Robin Williams has lots of great stuff. But now let's talk about a role where he is both a comic legend, but also in a very serious world. Dead Poet Society is this serious story about Robin Williams playing he's a teacher amongst students. He becomes a very, very cherished and beloved teacher amongst these kids. The kids are pretty much what have been able to succeed and become better people thanks to his teaching manners. A lot of Robin Williams movies follow the same idea of him playing a guy that is appreciated by his audience but not by his co-workers or employees. There's a lot of these films he's in. He's the guy who gets an audience but seems to upset um, their boss in a way. This is kind of like with a Good Morning Vietnam, his previous movie. He does a great job doing the podcast, but the boss doesn't like it. This movie, he does a great job at teaching, but he goes against sort of the policies of the other teachers went for. So it's kind of just this I don't want you doing this with kids thing anymore. But man, Robert Williams has just a very nice soul. He's one of those actors who plays roles where you can't hate him in any way. So yeah, Robert Williams is impossible to hate in his roles. And this movie is no exception. It's nice and beautiful, has a nice sweet chemistry to it. All the acting's pretty great. Comedy wise, well, you will mostly just get it from Robin, but hey, that's expected. So, yeah, a nice, sweet film that can hit you if you watch it enough. And here we have a rom com. Usually I'm mixed about those. Usually I don't like rom coms because they tend to follow the same formulas and it ends up becoming bland and annoying. But when Harry Met Sally does great job at being a rom com, it's probably one of the best rom coms out there. We follow a story about a couple who have gone through the most rough path in their romance. Starting, they become friends, then they kind of just have to go through this will we or will we not situation. And the movie tackles it really well. Not only is it very mature, but they also do a good job at kind of keeping it at a good notice. It's not one of those I love you, ooh, there's this other chick I want to date or whatever. There's not all this drama involving them being in the wrong in either way. Grant, they do suffer in the same situation where they both end up having their problems with each other at times, but for the most part, it's them reconnecting and understanding things at times. So we do kind of go in a back and forth situation where they feel like they're pissed off so much, but then they eventually take notice and understand what they really feel. So the movie tackles that very maturely. It's a very well handled kind of rom com film. Not one of those films that follows all kind of similar formulas of cheating or having that breakup bit where they have to get back together or whatever. It's all those bits that kind of make the film not as fun because like you hate that it's gonna happen. But this movie goes very mature to it, and I really like that. I like seeing how serious it gets with both sides, and we don't always have to see both of them in a different light. We can understand each of them equally. It's not we understand one but we don't like the other or whatever. And it's nice, kind of have things go out well. Not one of those another girl things either. Not one of those I'm cheating on you situations as much. It's a nice little beautiful film. It's kind of hard to watch at times, but still, really good time. And I'm putting a silly time travel comedy over it. Why? Because man, this movie is way better than it needs to be. Just reading the title, you already know this is not a serious film. It's not. This is pretty much Back to the Future if nothing about it needed to be taken seriously. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is these two idiotic dudes who go find a phone booth time machine and travel back to different periods of the world so they can learn about history, so they can pass their exam or whatever. And they end up coming across Napoleon, Socrates, Beethoven, Genghis Khan, Lincoln, etc. And then at one point they end up bringing them back to their world, so they end up they go ballistic all around the modern world. And it's Bill and Ted kind of just dealing with this problem and them being idiotic but all excellent, radical kind of thing. Clearly, you're not supposed to take any of it seriously. But at the same time, its plot runs really well, and it's the comedy involving the time travel is pretty well done that I just had to give it this spot. It's not this better time travel movie than most. It kind of did a good job of reminding me why I love time travel movies so much. Back to the Future showed me how great time travel movies can be. This showed me why I need to watch more because man, this really did a fun job with it. It had probably had the most fun with its time travel premise. It didn't try to take it too seriously. It just made two dumb characters, had a time machine, and did all sorts of fun stuff with it. And I love seeing a movie like that. Of course, here we have another rom com. This one is even more beautiful. Say Anything really, really does feel like a comfort film. It's such a feel good watch. It's a movie that actually makes me smile. Actually makes me fall in love with John Cusack's acting. I really could watch this movie again and just feel like really good warmth to it. I don't know how else to say it. I just think that this movie really gets me emotional when it shouldn't. It's got such a great chemistry with these two. There's such a really well done, put together situation involving it. There's of course that whole radio thing. Just the whole movie really really gets me going. I could watch it again and think to myself, "Wow, I didn't know a rom com could be so great." It's really comforting and emotionally whimsical. So, like, I think that I would love to see more rom coms that are like this. Eventually, I will find another rom com that's really beautiful, just as beautiful as this one. But until then, films like this are kind of rare in my book. Now, I did just previously talk about Back to the Future Part 2 when I'm doing my list of favorite Robert Zemeckis films. I really feel like I should just move forward because I've already talked about it. I mean, everything I said already applies. Going to the future, a future that is actually the past now for us. So we see all the things that they got right about the future and all the things that got wrong. But then the plot takes a turn as the film progresses. It's about them saving their present time from being destroyed by a man who has the power to place bets throughout time, history. And so now they have to find that magazine, destroy it, and save humanity. It's a fun time. Lots of exciting stuff. Almost as awesome as the first one, just almost. Doesn't reach there just yet, but almost. It's still a pretty awesome movie in my eyes. And yeah, I've already talked about it before, so let's move on. Now, have I made it clear already how much I love baseball? Yes? No? Either way, yes, I love baseball. And this movie defines it for me. Baseball is a sport that is I just seem to enjoy mostly for its unique pattern. You know, it's not one of those back and forth sports where you're just kicking a ball back and forth or shooting it at in goals back and forth. It's instead a circular sport, and it's one that kind of has the American feel to it. So I just grew up with baseball. I still love watching baseball, but in terms of baseball related films, this one is still my favorite. It because man, it is really great at its drama. The acting of everything is great. It's the story about this field that needs to be built and all these old baseball ghosts that come to it. There's something about it that sounds retarded, but actually comes off as well done and really beautiful. So yeah, it's like another one of those comfort movies that I could just sit down and watch and feel so invested in, even though I know it's not something that I'm gonna live through. But it's something that makes me want to live through it. Makes me feel like I wish I was had that kind of pride and emotion. So I still adore the movie for doing that, giving me a sense of something that I could never do, but I feel really warmth knowing that it has been done, or at least on film. It just feels very good at tying into my baseball love. My love for baseball can be exhorted through this movie. I'm able to watch this film and adore it for the love of the game. And of course, it's Batman, another film I've already gushed about previously. So, what more can I say? This is Batman at one of his best. The nice dark environments, the performances of Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne and Batman, the Jack Nicholson Joker, all that awesome comic book action, well put together amazingly here. It really did set the staple for comic book movies. It's not the best comic book movie in general, but it's pretty awesome for a movie that came out in the 80s and how it pretty much paved the way for so many superhero movies. Ones nowadays can thank for this one. I really that really does say something. I still really adore Batman, the superhero, and the movies, particularly this one. It's still a classic and always will be.